My name is Ken Nicholson. I happen to be the instructor at the Estevan Flying Club when this film was made in 1954. I think you'll enjoy seeing it. The film work was done by a chap by the name of Bruce Lawrence, who was a student at the time. The purpose of the film was to promote students to learn to fly, show it to interested parties around the area, Chamber of Commerces and so forth. In fact, the film got the first landing strip that they had at the town of Lampman. With me is Morris Montaigne, a student at the club at that time. Morris was in on the fun we had in those old airplanes. Morris, please add something to this introduction to the film.
In those days, we didn't have no such thing as radios. We just had red and green lights, and it was a lot of fun. I mean, nowadays they have newer type aircraft, and those days we didn't have even a tricycle landing gear or flaps. We just had tail draggers, and you had to be on your toes whenever you got in one of those things. You either want to go one way or the other way, all over the runway. But it was a lot of fun flying, and I enjoyed it very much, and I'm still out there flying away all these years. That's about 43 years now since I've been flying, and I've really enjoyed it.
It would appear that there's a prospective student, Remington Walker, showing up at the airport. He's met by the manager, who's always looking for a quick buck, and he doesn't waste any time getting him into the office. There's paperwork with this business to get a guy started. This is a little propaganda booklet to give to all the prospective students. I recognize that long form. That's the one that the student would sign, and when he completed his course, the federal government gave him a $100 grant towards the cost of his course. Now, the next stop for this prospective student is to the MOT medical examiner, who happened to be Dr. Barry. You get right down to business. As always, with doctors, there's a lot of dumb questions. Stethoscope is always cold. Takes his tonsils out there, I believe. He put that thing far enough down. Now watch close. Rem will blow that hard that he's actually got some mercury out on the table. This is see if your lungs are any good. How do you like the color of his face? This is a colorblind test. And he stumbled through it. And that's about how long the medical takes too. Now that's the first step in getting going. Now this is a difficult one. Dealing with a banker is never easy, but Rem's going there to finance his flying course. This is a paid commercial there, I believe. Now with a welcome like that, you'd think he was going to put money in the bank instead of try to get some out. Now up at the top of this thing, we'll see the cost of this course. There it is, $204. Or you can pay it at $17 a month. Now if he drives to the airport, he'll be relieved of that pretty quick. Now this is the start of a familiarization flight. Gets a short description of some of the instruments and so forth. Instructors never mentioned the radios because half of them didn't work. Oh my gosh, he did. And this is up on the familiarization flight. Trip over the valley, headed towards town. On his way. This is up high doing some preliminary easy turns, let downs, climbs, and so forth. Nothing too exciting until you get him really convinced that this flying is fun. Then we'll show you some stuff a little later where it gets a little more exciting. Must have been dinner time. They were awful anxious to get back on the ground. It's a shot of the airport as it was in 1954. A lot of the buildings are gone. A couple of the hangars are gone. But here's our fledgling attempting a landing. And he must have been all right with it. The instructor gets out, tells him, try it on your own. That's a takeoff for his first solo. The airplanes always perform better when they get rid of the overweight instructor out of the back. And here's his landing, and things aren't going good at all. But about now he relaxes, he's got it made, until he does a ground loop, which is not good. It appears that the old boy is not too happy. Tells him how it should be done. Tells him to get back up there and do it again. You can see by this takeoff that he's far from a backward student, because this took a lot of ability to make this takeoff. See how this one goes. Find improvement over the first landing. See, the instructor's having a nervous cigarette, but the kid made it. Here's congratulations from some of the gang. And now a time-honored ritual. The student gets a chance to buy a Coke. If you look close, you can tell that they're a little short on actors here. And there's the Cokes.
A gentleman there writing down there's George Germain. He used to be the airport operator one time to keep the snow off and everything. And he could look out through the window and tell how fast the speed of the wind was too. The gentleman coming there is Mayor Harry Nicholson. He's out going on a business trip. We have Don Wallace of Oxbow and his girlfriend. He's going to take her up for a ride there. We have a young fellow there by the name of Jerry Edgerson, young fellow that in the Air Force. Jerry Edgerson was an air cadet, took his flying training at the Estevan airport. Jerry became a commanding officer of the Air Force based at Lahr, France, under NATO command. Jerry is going flying and checking the oil and gas.
Ground school.
Ground school is an important part of the flying course. In the background, there's Jim Sterling. Sterling was from Weyburn, who later became an instructor at Estevan Flying Club and owned a Weyburn flying service. We have the theory of flying.
Must have been a good
We have an aero engine class there. Nicholson trying to tell them which end the gas goes in and comes out.
I look like I know what I'm talking about.
Part of the flying course was doing spins with the aircraft. We have the pilot's point of view in steep turns, as seen by the pilot. That's a spin there. Sometimes you feel like you're in a churn going around inside of where they make butter. Pulling up, doing a stall, and then going into a spin. the airport, Estevan Airport. We're doing some steep turns there. Now we are totaling up the hours. And completion of the course. We have the Department of Transport coming in there with an Anson.
Good airplane, hot in summer, cold in winter.
We have the gentlemen there, Doug Creighton and Ken Nicholson. A little fellow there is Bill Nicholson, who now flies corporated jets for Aramco Oil.
Made sure they all sat close together so they could cheat. Look at there, you catch Rem having a look next door? This is the 54th trip that Rem has made to the post office, looking for a little package, litter bug that he is. And he got it, private pilot's license. First thing first, he takes his lady friend for a ride, and I think he was trying to scare her out of going. Incidentally, that lady is now Mrs. Rem Walker. The air was real smooth that day, you could tell. There again is the city from a little higher altitude than before. Valley View School is no more. There's the courthouse, City Hall, the water tower, Holly Motors, Orpheum Theater, all down the street. Big town.
That's flying west down Main Street, 4th Street.
Now this gentleman getting out of the airplane is Joe Mack. Joe learned to fly when he was 64, and I'd suppose this is later because he's making like he is a veteran there, telling Rem how it's done. In this day and age, we sure hear an awful lot about women's lib. We had it in 54. Here's Jean Stockton, girl from Carlisle. the first lady to get her license at Estevan. This is one of our local businessmen, Abe Birdie. He bought that Super Cub and used it for spraying and his personal transportation. Fat old boy like that, it was no easy job to get in and out of that airplane. This young fellow pulling in here with this old Aronca had a whole 65 horses in it, but it managed to get him up and down. And his mom, Mrs. Tallhurst, is there to show how thankful she is that he's back on the ground alive. Now this is the takeoffs for a fly-in that quite a number of airplanes went to down at Devil's Lake, North Dakota. We had some problems with weather 30 miles away from Devil's Lake and finished the trip by taxi. Down there for a couple of days, had a lot of fun. Governor of the state was there to welcome everybody. This is the return trip. They are coming back, and it looks like the crosswind they battled on the takeoff is still there. There's some pretty grim landings. Not too much crosswind there, but just bumps and gusts, I guess. Those little airplanes in conditions like that without tricycle gears and flaps and so forth, they kept the pilot busy. And it was fun. They were fun. Noisy, cold, hot, slow. Tell some stories about John Deere tractors and freight trains passing our airplanes on a windy day. I think that's them all, and here we are pushing them into the hangar. Everybody gathered around, put some muscle to it, and didn't take too long to do to get the birds to roost. The fellow in the hat at the back of the airplane picked the girl with the shorts, and that's Morris Montaigne. That's Morris's first airplane. And then there's always some guy, whenever the day is about over, he finally shows up. He was a little late getting here, but anyway, the photographer thought it was worth taking a real close-up of him.
A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. I got a gal